Again, this is gonna feel kind of basic, especially for my upper belts, right? But effective. So, at least in my opinion, it's something that I use quite frequently in competitions. I've won a lot of shit, so in my brain, 2 + 2 = 4, and that means that it works, right? So, what we're gonna start from is closed guard, which is my favorite place to be. If you guys ever watch myself or Liz compete when we're coaching each other, we like to tell each other to go home. This is home for us, this is closed guard. So if you're here for our joint seminar on Saturday, you'll get some of this as well. Because this is where we both really like to play from, and it's where we're both really offensive from too. But what we're gonna go over today is the standard scissor sweep, and then when they defend your standard scissor sweep, a really slick triangle setup from there. If you guys read the program, my nickname is Triangle Trap Queen because I will find it from literally anywhere and everywhere, and it's really fun. So I like to do weird triangle setups wherever I can find them. But starting with the scissor sweep. So basic closed guard fundamentals here, our head is always off the mat. We're never playing guard like this unless we are having to shoulder walk our way back and escape some shit. But for our standard scissor sweep, we're gonna go cuff grip on the same side sleeve here. So again, I know we all know this, but for repetition's sake, never inside the sleeve. I'm gonna roll her cuff and grab it with my 4 fingers. Okay, second grip, I'm gonna go cross collar here. I'm not gonna go up into her neck because this is more to break down the posture, which we're not doing for the scissor sweep. We wanna control her movement sideways. So for that collar grip, I like to find their collarbone and kind of shove my knuckles into it. Maybe a dick move, I don't care. So I like to punch them in the shoulder right here. So if we're too low, the gi has too much movement and I don't have enough control. If we're too high, I have too much control, but it's more forward back instead of side to side. So punching her right in the collarbone here. From here, what we're gonna do is we open our guard. Now, first and foremost, the guard is defensive. So we only open when we are ready to make a move. So what we do is we open our guard, we plant, we hip escape, and what I'm doing is I'm sliding this right knee under her arm up into the middle of her chest like a Z-guard position. My knee is right in her sternum and my bony shin is controlling her ribs and her posture at this point. Really important here is I don't want to let my grip slide up. I want to keep it where it goes, so I'm not moving my grip to make space for my knee. We come here, we open, we hip escape, we slide that knee in there. One thing when you guys are opening the guard here is we don't necessarily want to telegraph what we're doing super early. And so I like to keep my knees pinched for as long as I can so that she doesn't necessarily know like how open my guard is. Because if you guys compete, you hear the counter coaching all the time, right? Guard's open, like that's your time to pass. We don't want her to do that, okay? So we keep our grips. As we open and hip escape, I'm still pinching my knees to her ribs. So this is not great for Liz. She doesn't like this pressure, right? It sucks. But she doesn't know whether or not my guard is open at this point. So as we do it, we pinch, then we go and we shove our knee in. So timing is important here. From here, I'm using this collar grip to load her onto my shin. I should be able to manipulate most of Liz's weight just with these 2 grips right here. So my collar grip and my bony shin. What most people, I don't want to say mess up with the scissor sweep, but they forget is that actual loading mechanic. I can sit here and try to kick her all day with this position, and it's usually not gonna work. It might work at white belt, it's not gonna work any further than that. So what I'm doing is as I load her onto my shin, I'm bringing her base forward so that this leg, the one next to this one, is light, and I can move her. You're sweaty.
Oh,
there you go. Okay, so from here, after I have loaded her weight, this is the leg that's gonna do the sweeping, right? It's a scissor sweep. So we're thinking about our legs moving like scissors do. One of the key points here is I want to come up to this elbow, so my sleeve side elbow, and I wanna actually look behind me and come this way. So from here, we opened our guard, we come here. I'm gonna come up as I'm pulling, and I have loaded her weight. We kick, we come up into mount. So if you are a competitor, it's a 6-point sweep, right? We get 2 for the sweep, 4 for the mount. Who doesn't like 6 points? What? Okay. So again, from this setup, we get our collar, or our sleeve grip here in our left hand. If you go to the other side, that's cool. I'm not gonna show it. I never scissor sweep this way. Good luck. I don't do ambidextrous jiu-jitsu. So we go sleeve grip, collar grip, punch her right in the collarbone here. As we open, we keep our knees pinched, slide our butt out in our hip escape, drive that knee across her sternum. So I'm not down here at a lap bar. This is gonna get smashed and passed pretty quickly. I'm not up here into her shoulder. That's more of like a lasso style, okay? So we wanna be right across her chest in that Z guard. Make them uncomfortable. Now from here, as we come up onto our elbow and pull this sleeve back, we load, we kick, and we come all the way up into mount. What's really nice is if you're keeping this grip, you have your arm bar almost immediately. So one more and we'll get to drilling. Okay, close guard, cuff grip on the sleeve, cross collar grip, punch them in the chest. We're gonna open, hip escape, shove that knee into the sternum, load the weight, come up and look behind you, kick that knee out, settle into mount. Make sure you do settle. If you're a competitor, get your points. Questions? Do we need to see it again? It's basics, I know guys. Basics are fun. Cool, let's grab a partner and drill it out, 1, 2. So 2 quick points for you guys right here. Say we're moving through, life is great, we shove our knee in the middle, we're cool. What I don't wanna do from this position when I'm like ready to load and kick my sweep over, right? I don't want to take my mobility out of the game by crunching into this little ball. Now when I try to look behind me, I'm limited on how far I can go, as opposed to here, I have way more extension, right? So if I'm curled up into this little ball, this part of the sweep is gonna be really hard to load and go. So we wanna make sure when we do our hip escape and get into that position, that we're giving ourselves the range of motion to be able to complete the sweep, right? Without getting smashed or cradled or anything like that. So when we open, we come here, we load. I'm not here into a little ball. I'm back here so that I can look beyond my elbow and take her over for the sweep. Last point, and then I'll let you guys get back to drilling real quick. When we get to this position, I wanna make sure that this leg, my actual sweeping leg, is staying on the mat. What I don't wanna do is load her so much and then kick her thigh. First of all, this is gonna get really annoying. She's gonna get pissed, right? I'm just kicking her in the thigh over and over. We're not in Muay Thai, okay? So I don't wanna kick her. So as I load for the sweep, I'm actually sweeping my leg across the mat. So we're here, we open, we come in, and we go. Okay, so we wanna sweep along the mat so that we're not chopping at their thigh. I don't really wanna do Muay Thai today. It's been a minute, okay? Also, don't annoy your partner as you do it. So, stay long in your sweep so that you have the mobility to come up, and make sure you're actually dragging that bottom leg across the mat itself. So we got our grips, we punch in the chest, we pinch, we open, drive our knee up as Z-guard, load, extend back, and go. It's really nice when they make a fun thud when they hit the mat too, so if you wanna make your partner feel good, give her a little break fall. Okay, let's get back to drilling and then we'll add the triangle. 1, 2. Okay, so as the scissor sweep is a basic sweep, right? We all learned this in our first few months at white belt, generally speaking. So that's more of like fine tuning that sweep and figuring out how it's gonna work best for you. We were just talking over there's a million ways to skin the cat. So whether you learn this the way that I'm teaching it, whether you learned it a completely different way 15 years ago when you started jiu-jitsu, it's always evolving, right? Jiu-jitsu is infinite. So you're gonna find how to make that sweep work best for you. Whether you're a female, whether you're a guy, whether you're a kid, it's all gonna be a little different. But what I really like to do, because at brown belt, nobody's gonna just let you hit a scissor sweep, right? So we use their defense against them. So again, we go for our same setup. So we're getting that cuff grip, we're getting that cross collar grip, we're punching them in the chest here. As we open and pinch, and I'm trying to drive this knee in, Liz is gonna kind of hunker down into my guard because she doesn't wanna go that way. She doesn't wanna get swept, she wants to pass, right? So using this defense against her, I'm gonna take this hand that's in the collar, extend her just a little bit to make space. This is where punching her in the collarbone really comes in handy, right? I'm gonna drop this knee, so my Z guard, if we'll call it that knee, I'm gonna drop it into that space that she's created by hunkering down, and I'm using this bony ass shin and my knee to drive her grip out of my way. Do we already see the triangle setup? Okay, so we have one arm in, one arm out. All we're gonna do here is using my left foot. It's staying on her hip, this one here, and we're using that to swivel our hips, keeping our grips into our triangle, okay? And we'll go over finishing mechanics for that bad boy. Okay, so same grips, life is perfect. I'm going for my scissor sweep, she hunkers down, okay? My plans have been thwarted, or have they? So we give her a little punch, give her some space, drive my shin into her arm. Now all we're doing is rotating this right knee towards the mat and pushing out to break that grip. Left foot into the hip, we're gonna step, pull this arm into us, swivel, lock our triangle. Half our job is already done for us because this arm is across. So all we need to worry about now is just actually finishing the triangle itself. So you'll notice I'm already at an angle. I'm not here with my triangle. This is gonna be hard to finish. I gotta pull the head, I gotta be a dick. I don't really wanna be that person, right? So as you're setting this triangle up, try to put yourself on this angle already. I wanna look into Liz's ear. From here, obviously we have an arm bar because her arm is waving at me. But to finish the actual triangle, I'm flexing my feet, I'm rotating this knee, so my top knee, my left knee, it rotates inside, and I just give it a little squeeze, okay? If you need to, if you got long skinny legs like I do, we can either grab the arm to cut that angle even further, we can dive under the leg to cut that angle even further, but we're flexing our feet, our knees are rotated, and we squeeze. I got you. I'm looking at your face. There's also a wrist lock. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. There's a wrist lock. Not for you. Not yet. Okay, so same setup here. Cuff grip on the sleeve. Collar grip. This is where that collar grip is really important. If you're setting up the scissor sweep already knowing that you want to do a triangle, make sure this grip is solid because you need it, okay? We come here, we pinch, we open. We hip escape to make our space. I try to drive my knee in. Liz says, no, thank you. So I'm gonna punch her in the shoulder, bring my knee up and over, shove my bony shin into her bicep, okay? There you go. From here, we're just rotating this top leg down towards the mat as we push out to break that grip. Left foot steps in the hip, pull that sleeve with us, rotate. Lock your triangle. Okay, from here, we're gonna flex our feet, squeeze. Notice I'm not pushing her away in this triangle. That's giving her opportunities to start stepping over. We don't wanna do that. Okay, so once I'm here, we set up our triangle, we rotate our knees, we pull in and squeeze. We cut our angle and squeeze if we need to. We can arm bar if we need to. We can throw it over the face if we need to. Look at all these fun adventures from one position, right? We can wrist lock. We can even sweep if we really want to and come up into our mounted triangle, okay? So biggest point with the triangle itself, we'll just go like standard triangle here. Bloop, 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 bloop. So a lot of people, they'll catch their triangle here, right? And you see that it takes them forever to try to finish it. It's because she's got a lot of space in her carotids. So without Liz, looking at the triangle itself, if I'm just straight on and we can make eye contact here, this is where her carotids are, okay? We're in this space. I guess it's this way, right? Notice as soon as I rotate my knee, that space gets way smaller. That's where her blood flow is to her brain, okay? It's just that simple movement here. So outside, lots of space. Inside, she chokes, which is what we want. So last time, go here, we'll go cuff grip, cross collar grip. Punch him in the shoulder, right? Open and pinch, hip escape. Liz blocks the scissor sweep on the inside. There we go, okay? So we're gonna drive this knee up and over, shove my shin into her bicep. Is this the nicest move ever? No. Do I care? No. Okay, so we're gonna rotate that knee towards the mat, kick off that grip. Hip, foot in the hip. We rotate, we shoot our triangle. Not here, here. Huge difference. Okay, now from here, you can dive under, you can pull her in and squeeze, you can arm bar, you can wrist lock, you can do other arm bars. If you do end up pushing them away, not the end of the world, just not ideal, right? Because now she has a defensive grip. Pop that shit off, Go to your arm bar again. You just come up into side control. You go to mount. The options are endless, you guys. That's why I love this move. Okay, any questions on the triangle setup from here? Cool, let's give it a shot. 1, 2. Fantastic triangle setup, in my opinion. So come on this side to make sure you guys can see this, because I think the viewpoint is actually really important. So first and foremost, top person, make sure you're doing your job for your partner. So as I'm doing this, Liz is staying hunkered down with her elbows on the inside, right? So that as I go for the scissor sweep, she's blocking my actual scissor sweep. So it's like, all right, now we move to plan B. We come up and over, okay? This is the second point I wanna bring you guys in for. So again, the grips are super important here. And I probably did not mention this, but as I'm rotating that knee down, so notice I'm not trying to kick out from here, right? This is never gonna break her grip. She can stay here all day, especially if she's holding my belt. That's like a rodeo grip is what I'm gonna call that, okay? I can't break that grip doing this, right? I gotta like reset, come back, pop that shit off, and I gotta go try again, okay? So partners, make sure you're hunkered down onto their belt. So once we're here, once I'm rotating this knee down, I'm pulling her in with these grips, right? Like I want to be in control of this position. So I'm going to rotate my knee, kick that grip off, pulling her in at the same time into the triangle. Okay, I want to stay in control of her posture for this whole grip. That's what that cross collar grip is used for. It's posture control, right? So when we open, we pinch, we go for it, she hunkers down, she's not gonna let me get it. This might feel like you're being a dick. Lorena just mentioned this, right? Like, we don't want to punch our shoulder or our partners in the shoulders, but sometimes we kind of have to. It's jujitsu, not patty cake, right? So we're bringing this up and over. I'm putting a lot of pressure both into her chest with this push because I'm pushing with my shin, which is pretty bony, but I'm also pulling her into that grip. Okay, now we rotate, we kick that grip off, swivel. So in the swivel, guys, once you catch the triangle, again, try not to push them away with this. Okay, this just gives her more space and opportunity to start defending and coming around, right? So once we catch that triangle, we're here, we rotate. We don't push her away, we rotate. Sometimes what I like to do in competition is I'll keep this collar grip because then it turns into like a triangle punch choke. They're gonna tap a lot quicker because all I need to do is rotate, squeeze. She's already tapping, okay? So, biggest points there, top person, make sure you're doing your job, you're hunkering down, right? So we're here, we open, we go for our sweep, she says no thanks. Okay, so we're going to keep those knuckles into her bony collarbone. This knee comes up and over. Notice I'm not bringing it out wide. We're staying connected, right? We always want those 3 points of contact. So I'm sliding it up her body to drop it in right here. Now we're rotating that knee down, pushing that grip out, and while I'm setting this triangle up, I'm pulling her into the triangle. If I try to just set it up from here, there's a weak ass triangle. There's not even a triangle, right? I have to go get it at that point. I don't wanna do that. So we're here, rotate our knee, we kick that grip off. I'm pulling her into my triangle. Okay, and then you can keep that grip to drive that arm across, dive under, finish your triangle, finish your arm bars. If you even feel like adding some more jazz hands to it, there's an arm crunch arm bar on this side, and you just rotate. Rotate for me, so the other side can see that. Right? If you're like, wow, the triangle's not good enough for me, it's not flashy enough. Swim underneath, hug right above the elbow, rotate. Arm bar. Okay, so there's like 18 submissions off of this one move.
I got a question there.
What's
right?
up?
If it's not good enough or flashy enough, it's just not working right because we seem to get each other and we're squeezing and it's like we're just kind of looking at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I don't know if it's these massive tree trunks, but like what are we doing wrong? Like if we put the arm in the pocket and we're squeezing, how long is too long where you're like, okay, this is not, I shouldn't keep, just depleting my energy on this? Like,
so more than anything, it's probably your angle for your actual triangle. So I'll come watch you guys set them up. But yeah, so that's...
When you hit it, is there like a certain amount in your head? I know there's not a rule, but like in your head, like you spend a minute, like obviously it's not working. Or 30 seconds,
I don't have like an internal clock, but if I feel like If whatever I'm doing is not working, then I'm gonna switch off to a different submission, right? Because you still have their arm, you have their other arm, you have wrist locks, you also have a sweep available. So you can always come up and get your points on the triangle sweep. It's been a while since I felt like somebody's not tapping to my triangle. I'm not gonna lie to you for that. But more than anything, it's probably your angle. Because again, if you just said that you're looking at each other and like you're making eye contact, just go to like standard triangles here. So again, if I'm looking at Liz's beautiful face right here, right? Like I'm not gonna have a whole lot of pressure on her carotids, okay? Because the whole point of the triangle is that we're shoving their shoulder and choking them with their own shoulder on one side and my leg on the other side. So doing this, a lot of times if you're this straight on, you have to start rotating and pulling their head into the triangle. Eventually you're gonna get a tap because they're gonna get tired of being in this position, right? But this is a much tighter triangle when you're able to cut that angle and like look into her ear, right? Because now I'm just solidly on her carotids, if you can see that. Like this is not, I'm gonna let that go because she's gonna die. Right, so this is a very different triangle setup from this. Do you see the angle of the knees? Completely different. So I'll come watch you guys and we'll troubleshoot that and fix it. But regardless, you have your armbar, you have your other armbar, you have wrist locks all days. Shoot, I think you can go Kimura right here if you really want to, right? Or you can sweep them and get your points. The submission feels better, I'm fully aware. But more than anything, it's your angle. So what's really nice about triangles, I'll ask you in a second. I'm a really long human being, right? I'm #blessed for that. So I have like long, skinny legs. So I will catch these triangles from literally anywhere. Like side control, I'll put you in a triangle. Like it doesn't matter. However, for me, the finish is much harder because I need to cut that angle. That's a much harder finish for me. I'll find them from everywhere, but it's harder to finish. Whereas like those of you who have been blessed with like shorter, thicker legs, like you might not catch the triangle as easily, but you're gonna finish it a lot quicker than I ever will, because that's gonna be real tight pressure on the carotid. So pros and cons to all body types with this position, but knowing that you have this sweep 2 triangle setup is super beneficial because 1, there's 18 submissions off of that we just showed you guys. But 2, you'll start to find these positions like throughout rolling and throughout competing and training and stuff like that. And it's really fun because you're gonna add like new submissions to your arsenal. So just from the triangle, you have multiple arm bars, wrist locks, the actual triangle itself. We won't even get into reverse triangles because that's a whole nother ball game. But yeah, so there's pros and cons to all of it depending on how you're shaped and sized. But more than anything with triangles, it's always gonna be the angle. The angle is most important. So we'll work on your angle for you guys. Which question?
Like if you're really gonna hunt for the triangle, keeping that angle, you would try to make another point of contact with the keeping her, because you're gonna chase.
Yes.
Repositioning.
Yep.
So you would want to keep her there.
Yeah.
You really want the triangle.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll hug that far leg, like I'll cut that angle real quick on my triangles and I'll stay there, like I'll hunker down right there, because if you stay on that angle and your knees are positioned right for your triangle setup, they're not going anywhere. They can't get out. They're either gonna choke and tap or they're gonna go to sleep. There's not much options for them from there, especially cutting that angle so hard, especially with like your build, that's gonna be a tight as shit triangle. Yeah. Other questions? Cool, let's drill with some points.